Good day, everyone. It's a rainy, overcast day here, and I want to start by apologizing for it being so long since I've posted. So I thought today I would just do a quick sort of in-touch video. And if I go quietly, I think I can just, oh, there goes the heron, the blue heron. They were just feeding. I'm so happy this season because the quantity of herons, the blue herons, have increased so greatly over the past few years, particularly last year. I don't know if it's just because they had less boats and things for their offspring to deal with, but we now have a flock that feeds specifically on our little section of our shoreline. And they're always entertaining. I'm hoping they'll get used to me more each season. That's going to be sort of one of my goals now that they've sort of chosen this spot. If they become used to me filming them and going down there, I think they'll just adjust. But as you can see, it's an overcast day. It was a lovely foggy morning, but the fog has rolled out. And though we had rain, much needed rain, which I was so happy to have, off in the distance you can see, by the neighbor's dock, the blue sky and the sun is coming and pushing out the clouds. So we will probably have a sunny day. Luckily for us, we're often 10 or 15 degrees cooler where we are, because hubby was telling me it was almost 90 in Boston, which is quite warm for Boston this time of year, really at all. And though he loves the heat, but I was happy that it was in the 70s here. Fahrenheit, of course. So yes, this is just going to be a simple get back in touch with all of you. Sorry I've been absent, but summer is coming in and I'm getting busier, and I just haven't been able to work my video schedule into my normal schedule. So let's see what other little things I can share with you today. And my little hot dry border is planted. It looks silly now, I know, just a blob of mulch with plants evenly spaced, but there's a method to my madness, and hopefully it will grow up nice and tall. But the lavender, which yesterday the lavender was, actually the last 3 days we've had so much wind, the lavender was just bent on its side, and that salty wind was just giving it a what for, including the salvia and the tick seed. Bent straight down. Of course, the succulents, they don't mind. In fact, I think some of these succulents would probably grow on our beach. So, but this will fill in, and I have more flowers to put in, and I just bought some annuals for tomorrow, or to plant tomorrow. I have some purple and lovely goldeny peach pansies, so those will go in there. And you can see this is where this year's border stopped. So now this year is the border I've taken over, and I'm diligently digging over and mulching. And this is sort of the chaos of some things planted, some things wild, and we'll just mow around it, enjoy it for what it is, and then next season. Oh, but I wanted to show you as you come through this bit of the garden, which I have to mow our path we take from this part of the garden down to the fire pit. Look how beautiful my lovely iris are. Oh, and I'm not sure if you can see, but do you see how the iris is there and the blue heron is just framed in the distance on the rock? Hoping he's showing up. Anyway, I love these iris, and I just actually transplanted these here to this spot last year. I've been transplanting these around this garden. A lovely story about these iris is on Route 6A, which is the historic road that my old cottage is on Cape Cod. There's a lovely lady who lives quite near my mother-in-law. She's since passed, but she had the most beautiful collection of iris and bearded iris, and every 2 years she would dig them up and leave boxes of the different varieties on the roadside. And so these golden yellow ones I always coveted, and so they've lived both. There are some at my cottage, and then when we came to Bunny Hall, I brought a little cluster, and they've been spread around. I have another cluster of them over by the another garden I'm working on. So let's have a quick look at those. This is another little border actually off the terrace that I have been working on. Well, I say I've been working on it. I added these iris, and in this jumble of, this is a native weed, but doesn't it look like a wild geranium? So I let it grow for now until I can really attack this border. And behind this big succulent, or behind this big honeysuckle, which I've let root here, which I will dig up and move to a new spot when I'm ready, is a lovely wisteria that's been growing, which I hope to train on the stone bit of the house. The lovely joy of intentional and weeds is definitely the story of my garden. I shared with you before my fruit cage, so let's look at how lovely. Well, we have our view of the sea, but the treasures in here are the fruit. And you can see my peach tree is just full of lovely, thick peaches. And there are many apples fattening up as well. And least we forget. The blueberries are ripening. And look at the strawberries. Now, in the usual way of my garden, 3 acres and 1 person is hard to keep up. There's some wild carrots mingled in there, which the chickens will have, and some native grasses growing up around here. That is just part of the lone gardening on 3 acres. And this is one of my shade borders by the kitchen door of the house, which I'm really proud of. It might look like a jumble of green, but it's a mixture of lovely various hydrangeas, which you can see are putting on beautiful blossom. And I have containers with evergreens in, and I'm really excited with my mix of hostas, which I love hostas. Look how beautiful this, I forget the variety of this, but look how big it is. I have quite a large hand. Look how big that leaf is to my hand. So I've been working on this border for a few years, and although it looks like a mishmash, I planted evenly spaced white azaleas, dotted with various hostas, and of course my growing collection of hydrangeas. And in this border I have the hydrangea I shared with you before, which is a lovely purple shade. And luckily the pH balance of the soil on Cape Cod allows hydrangeas to be quite blue. So as this variety is a specific purple variety, and I keep the tag on here, it's called Bloomstruck. It gets that vibrant purple. In fact, I'd say ours get a bit more vibrant than that. But I just love azaleas and rhododendrons because they give such pretty flowers this time of the year, and yet they have a lovely evergreen foliage for the rest. So another border, work in progress, but I'm still enjoying it for what it is. And here's another portion of the garden, just as the landscaped area makes way to the woodland. And look how the bridal bouquet bush is just densely full of lovely flowers. These are wonderful in arrangements because you can see how you cut them and they just hang. These are beautiful in urns. And you can see across our little road, the opening entrance to our woodland, the big rhododendrons are starting to open their buds. And this beautiful purple smoke bush is starting to set its blossom, which will of course turn into that beautiful explosion of flower that looks like smoke. Just yesterday I was able to hop out to the garden center and I got flowers to plant in my 2 urns by one of the entrances. And they did not have the Supertunia Vista bubblegums I use every year, so this year I'm doing a beautiful honey peach color, as I'm super obsessed with peach right now, and I think it looks beautiful with the purple. So this is the Proven Winners Supertunia Bordeaux, which I've used before, but the Supertunia isn't quite as powerful as the Supertunia Vista, but they were all sold out because everyone's really into gardening this year. And of course, the little bunny statue for Bunny Hall. And we'll just end on this little bit of picket fence area next to the pool, which of course, as I shared in an old video, our swimming pool does not contain water, but instead debris to be burned in the spring season. I don't know if you saw that little chipmunk just snuck through, but here some of more of the hydrangeas, or the rhododendrons, are starting to flower. And we have wild raspberries, which I will pick and freeze. And here the rhodie is full. I don't know what happened this year. I haven't had this before. It almost looks like leaf burn on the rhodies. And these rhodies have been here for longer than I have. And they've been fine with the salty wind, so I'm not sure what it was. But I love these little moments when you can sneak under the shrubs and the trees and you hear the sound of the rain on the canopy. And then you look through rhododendrons out into the sea. Well, I think this will do it for today's odd little video, a sort of garden tour of sorts of my messy garden. But I hope you will stick around. I think by mid-June I'll probably be able to get back into a more normal schedule of videos. But until then, thank you for joining me today. And remember, stay creative.